Girl, let me show you something. I'm holding it right now. This little 4x6 printout from Walgreens. It's a screenshot of a text message, just a few lines long. The timestamp says 7:14 p.m., 2 years, 4 months, and 11 days ago. All it says is, we can't deal with this right now, Aaliyah. Darius's wedding is in 3 months. That's it. That's the whole text. I keep this picture in a little box with my discharge papers from Emory because this, right here, this is the moment I realized my sickness wasn't a family crisis. It was just an inconvenience. This little screenshot is the moment I knew this wasn't no disagreement. This was a case. And this piece of paper, Chile, this was Exhibit A. If I had deleted that text, if I had just let it go in the name of keeping the peace, I promise you everything that came after would have fell apart. I'm telling you this story, woman to woman, because what they don't tell you is that sometimes the fight for your life ain't just in the hospital. Sometimes it's right at your own family's dinner table. And when I'm done, I'm going to tell you the 3 things I tell any girl who finds herself in a situation like this, so just hold on. Okay, so rewind. Imagine this. 2 years back, I was living good. I had my own little spot over in Decatur, the kind with the big windows and enough sun for my fiddle leaf fig to finally act right. I was a senior graphic designer at this bougie agency in Midtown, making good money, minding my business, and loving my life. I was that girl, the one who had it all figured out. I was 31, single but not stressed about it, and my biggest problem was trying to keep my white sneakers clean on the Atlanta pavement. Life was smooth. Then I get this call. My doctor, she talking all calm, using them big words, but all I heard was malignant in stage 3. Girl, everything just went silent. The whole world, all the traffic outside my window, the music I had playing, it all just stopped. It felt like the floor dropped out from under me. First person I called was my dad. I was crying, couldn't even get the words out right. I just needed to hear his voice, Needed him to say, "It's gonna be okay, baby girl. We got you." I finally choked out the words, "Daddy, they found something. It's cancer." And there was just nothing, just static on the line for a second. I could hear my mama in the background talking about cake tastings for my little brother Darius's wedding. My daddy finally clears his throat and he's like, "Aaliyah, that's a lot. We're in the thick of it with the wedding plans." I'm sitting there holding the phone so tight, my knuckles are white, thinking, "Are you serious?" I said, "Daddy, I know, but I'm scared." And that's when he said it. The words that changed everything. He said, "Look, we'll talk about this after the wedding. We can't deal with this right now." And before I could even process it, the line went dead. He didn't hang up on me. It was my mama. I know it was. I got that text, the one I just showed you a minute later, from her phone. Not a call back, not a "we love you." Just that. A text message dismissal. So now let's fast forward to about 3 weeks ago. I'm in my new condo in Buckhead. Life is different now. I beat it. 2 years of hell, but I came out the other side. I got a promotion at work. I'm the creative director now. My hair grew back, thicker too. I'm seeing somebody, James, a real grown man who knows how to treat a woman. I'm happy. For real happy. And my phone rings. It's my dad. I ain't heard his voice in maybe a year, not since he left that dry as toast voicemail for my birthday. I almost didn't answer, but I did. And he's talking all sweet, asking how I am, how work is, all that fake nice they do when they want something. Then he drops. "We're having a family dinner on Sunday. It's important. We need to talk." And I just knew in my spirit this wasn't no "let's make up" dinner. This was a summons. All week I'm on edge. James is like, "You don't have to go, You don't owe them anything." And he was right. But something in me needed to go. I needed to close this chapter. So I spent that week getting my ducks in a row. I went to the post office and got a certified letter ready just in case. I went to my little lockbox and pulled out the folder. Chile, let me tell you about this folder. My nurse at Emory, Keisha, she was an angel. She saw me coming to every single chemo appointment by myself, sitting in that chair for 6 hours, alone, bringing my own blanket, my own snacks. One day she sat with me on her break and she was like, "Where's your family?" And I just broke down and told her everything. She looked at me dead serious and said, "Okay, new plan. You're not just a patient anymore. You're a plaintiff. You need to start building your case." At the time, I thought she was being dramatic, but she wasn't. She told me, "Go down to medical records on the first floor. Request a copy of your complete visitor log for your entire treatment period. It's your right. It'll show who signed in and when." She said, "Print out your phone records. Highlight every call you made to them that they ain't answer. Screenshot every text you sent asking for help that got ignored. Keep it all." So I did. I had this thick manila folder full of 2 years of silence, full of proof. I ain't know then that Keisha was preparing me for a war I didn't even see coming. I just thought I was documenting my own pain. Back to the present. Or, a few weeks ago, I'm sitting in my car outside my parents' house, the same house I grew up in. And I'm just holding that folder on my lap. My hands were a little shaky. Not because I was scared of them, but because I was scared of the old me. The me who would have walked in there and just taken whatever they dished out. The me who would have cried and begged for an apology they was never going to give. I took a deep breath, looked at my reflection in the rearview mirror, and I was like, nah, that girl ain't live here no more. Asterisk. I left the folder in the car though. That was going to be my closing argument, not my opening statement. I walked in and it was like a scene from a movie. My mom, my dad, my brother Darius, and his wife Tiffany, who he did end up marrying in a wedding that apparently cost more than a down payment on a house. They all sitting there smiling these big fake smiles. My mama tried to hug me, talking about, "Aaliyah, baby, you look so good. We've been so worried about you." I just looked at her. Worried? Worried when? When you were picking out floral arrangements while I was getting a port put in my chest? When you were on a flight to Jamaica for the honeymoon while I was at home, too sick to even hold down water? But all I said was, "I'm doing okay, Ma." We sat down for dinner, and the small talk was so thick you could have cut it with a knife. They talking about their vacation, Tiffany's new job, my dad's golf game. It was like they were performing a play called Happy Perfect Family, and I was the only one who didn't get a script. I just ate my food, kept quiet. I knew the other shoe was finna drop. And sure enough, after dessert, my daddy clears his throat. That's his signal. The show's about to start. He gets this real somber look on his face and says, "Aaliyah, there's a reason we asked you here. As you know, I haven't been feeling myself lately." He went on to explain that he'd been diagnosed with Parkinson's. And my heart did a little something. It's still my dad, you feel me? For a second, I felt that old pull, that little girl in me who just wanted her daddy to be okay. But then he kept talking. "The doctors say it's progressive. Your mother can't handle this on her own. And Darius and Tiffany, they're trying to start a family." He looks right at me, and I could see it coming from a mile away. "You're the obvious choice, Aaliyah. You're single, you have a good job you can probably do from home now. We need you to move back in for a while. Be my primary caregiver. Chile." The whole room was looking at me, nodding like this was the most reasonable, logical thing in the world. My brother Darius had the nerve to say, "Yeah, Ali, it's the least you can do. It's what family does." The least I could do? I just looked at him. This is the same man who called me one time during my entire 2-year sickness. One time. You know what he wanted? to ask if I could still design his wedding programs for free because the lady they hired was charging too much. I remember lying in my bed, bald and nauseous, and telling him, "Darius, I can barely sit up." His response? "Okay, well, let me know if you feel better soon because we need them by Friday." I ain't know yet that that phone call will become a key piece of my evidence, a perfect example of their priorities. That was their one and only outreach, and it was to ask for a favor. Back at the dinner table, I'm just sitting there, letting their words hang in the air. The audacity was breathtaking. It was like the last 2 years just didn't happen. Like, my whole battle was a footnote in their story. Tiffany, the wife, she chimes in, all sweet and poisonous. "We know you've been through a lot, Aaliyah, and honestly, we think being here, focusing on family, would be good for you. Help you heal." Help me heal? By being a 24/7 nurse to the man who couldn't even be my father for a 5-minute phone call? Oh, I saw the whole game then. This wasn't about his health. This was about their convenience. They needed a problem solved, and I was the solution that didn't cost them nothing. My mama started in on the guilt trip. "You were always so strong, Aaliyah. Your father needs that strength now. Don't be selfish." Selfish. That was the word that did it. That was the trigger. I felt something shift in me. All that hurt, all that anger I had swallowed for 2 years, it didn't come out as a scream. It came out as calm, a cold, clear calm. I just nodded slowly. I put my fork down and I looked at each of them, one by one. I said, "You know what? You're right. Family is important. And what family does is show up for each other." I stood up. "Excuse me for 1 second." I walked out the front door, went to my car, and I got the folder. I walked back in and sat down. The whole table was quiet, watching me. They thought I was getting emotional, maybe going to get a tissue. Nah, sis, I was getting my receipts. I opened the folder right there on the dining room table next to the half-eaten cheesecake. "I just want to make sure I understand the history here," I said, my voice steady as a rock. I pulled out the first paper. "This is a printout of my phone records from Verizon. It shows 42 calls made from my number to this house, to your cell phones, over a 6-month period. And these little red dots next to them, those are the ones that went to voicemail and never got a call back. That's 38 for those keeping score." My dad started to say something, but I held up my hand. "I'm not done." I pulled out the next one. "These are screenshots. Here's one of a text from me on May 12th telling you I was starting chemo the next day and that I was scared. And here's a screenshot from your Instagram mama posted on May 13th. It's you and Tiffany at a bridal shop caption saying yes to the dress. So excited." I slid it across the table. My mother wouldn't even look at it. Tiffany's face went pale. Darius just stared at his hands. I had more. Oh, I had so much more. I had the printouts of their Facebook posts from their Jamaican honeymoon, dated the same week I was hospitalized with a neutropenic fever. The highlight reel of their perfect life playing out online while mine was falling apart in private. The silence in that room was so loud, it was the sound of truth sucking all the air out. The final piece of paper was the one from Emory. "And this," I said, my voice softer now. "This is the official visitor log from the hospital for my entire 2-year treatment. There are a lot of signatures here. My friend Maya, my boss David, and Keisha, my nurse, she signed in about 100 times. But you know whose names I don't see here? Not once. I just let the question hang there. My father, for the first time in my life, looked broken. He had tears in his eyes, real tears. He looked at me and whispered, "We messed up, Aaliyah. I know we did. But I'm your father. I'm sick. Please, help me." And I looked at this man, the stranger who shared my DNA, and I felt nothing. Not hate, not even anger anymore. Just A quiet finality. The love had been starved out of me, one unanswered phone call at a time. I gathered my papers, put them neatly back in the folder. I stood up and I looked him right in his tear filled eyes. I gave him his own words back, a gift he had given me 2 years ago. I said, I know, but I can't deal with this right now. And then I walked out. I didn't slam the door, I didn't yell, I just closed it gently behind me, and I was free. The text and voicemail started before I even got back to my condo. My mom, my brother, even Tiffany, all saying they were sorry, that they didn't realize that they'd make it up to me. A few days later, a certified letter arrived from my father, a real handwritten apology. It was everything I thought I wanted to hear 2 years ago. But reading it now, it felt like a business proposal, an offer made in desperation. I ain't right back. My silence was my answer. My peace is non negotiable now. They eventually had to hire a full time caregiver for my dad, which I know is costing them a fortune. Darius had to put off their plans to buy a bigger house. Their perfect, convenient world got complicated. And I didn't feel guilty, I just felt balanced. Justice ain't always loud, girl. Sometimes it's just a quiet, inevitable consequence of people's own actions. And that brings me to the three things I promised you. If you ever find yourself being made to feel small by the people who are supposed to make you feel safe, I need you to listen. First, document everything. I'm telling you, it's not about being petty. It's about protecting your reality when they try to rewrite history with gaslighting. Your pain is valid, and the proof will keep you sane. Second, boundaries are not a punishment for them. They are a protection for you. You don't set a boundary to hurt someone, you set it to stop them from continuing to hurt you. It is the kindest thing you can do for your future self. And third, and this is the one I need you to hear, sis, your real family is not about blood. It's about who shows up. It's about who holds the basin for you when you're sick, who answers the phone at 3 a.m., who celebrates your wins and sits with you in your losses. My family is Keisha, who still calls to check on me every week. It's James, who holds my hand and tells me I'm the strongest person he knows. It's me. I am my own family now. That little screenshot I keep, it's not about the pain anymore. It's my declaration of independence. It's the receipt for the life I have now. The one I built myself, the one nobody can ever take from me again.
Thank you, Aaliyah, for sharing this story with us. Chile, listen, that story is about so much more than just getting better from a sickness. It's about getting whole. I'm telling y'all, imagine that. To sit at a table with the very people who treated your crisis like an inconvenience, only for them to turn around and ask you to make their crisis your whole life. The silence in that room when she laid out that folder, that was the sound of truth. And honestly, she didn't have to raise her voice one bit. Now look, let's talk about what we can learn from this, because this here is deep. First thing, that nurse Keisha was an angel for a reason. When she told Aaliyah to keep her records, she was giving her armor. If I had to break this down for somebody going through something similar, I'd say this. Documentation ain't about planning a fight. No, it's about protecting your reality. It's your proof when somebody tries to tell you, oh, it wasn't that bad. Yes, it was. You know why? Because you got the receipts. And then, this whole business with her brother asking for wedding programs while she's sick in the bed. The mistake folks stay making is believing family is a title that gives you automatic access to somebody's labor, their time, their spirit. That ain't real. A relationship is a two-way street. I don't care who you related to. You got to give support to get support. It's just that simple. Here's a rule to remember, folks. Don't let nobody drain your well and then get mad when you ain't got no water to give them. See, her walking away quiet like wasn't an act of revenge. It was her turning off the tap. It was her saying, my peace, my energy, my life is mine now. You know, she had to become her own family to save herself. I ain't gonna lie, that took a strength most people don't know they have until they're tested. Aaliyah found hers, and it's a beautiful thing to see. She chose herself, and there ain't no shame in that. If this story gave you something to think about, Go ahead and subscribe and hit that thumbs up. It really does help us out. Let me know in the comments which city or state y'all watching from. I just love seeing where everybody is. And right now on the screen, you're going to see other videos from the channel. Click one and let's keep going.